up here. Oh, stop, Esme. Hey everyone who's coming on watching now. Let me know if you're watching, if you're on. I'd love to know where you are. Just getting everything set up. You can see my chihuahua over there. Yeah, I see a few people are watching. Send me a message. Let me know you're here. Let me know that you can hear me also. I need to make sure my audio's on. Looking forward to it. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And then also let me know where you're here from. It'd be great to see that. I'll be right back. Hey there, just a couple more minutes, we'll start. Let me know if you're here. I'd love to see. Let me know that you can hear me. Checking all the things, make sure that I've got volume, connection. Hey, I see a few more people coming on. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, just to make sure. Let me know where you're here from. I always enjoy knowing a little bit about who's watching with these live streams. I can't see you, but you can see me. You can see my dog, who will hopefully stay nice and settled, resting. Just a couple more minutes, we'll start. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, give me a little wave. Send me a message, a comment in the chat. Where are you here from? Sometimes these live streams reach beyond the borders of our own city, state, nation, the world. I've seen people here from Ireland and Spain. Yeah, it's good to see you, even though I can't see you. It's good to see a few people popping on. And what a week it's been, at least if you're in America. It's been quite a week. And so if I look tired, I am tired. I've been engaging as I can, as I believe that we all are called to do. So this is diving right into the topic or the theme of today is everything is urgent. Slow down. Everything is urgent. And so whatever it is you're experiencing in your life, there's a sense of urgency to it. And how we respond is really key. Some of us respond with action. And you can see this in just your daily life, your daily habits, how you respond at work when you're called to action. You can see it in your family life. You can see it in your relationship life. How do you respond? Are you the one that gets activated and does something? Or are you the one that moves towards a state of paralysis or collapse, that overwhelm? And that's really tied in with the central nervous system and how we are conditioned to be. And so the work of yoga helps us to first recognize what state we're in by noticing breath and body and tracking breath and body. And then also gives us tools to, I don't want to say override. Override is not always possible, but tools to work with that state, whatever it is. And so in my yoga therapy practice, I work very closely with this. Are you pushed towards a state of fight or flight, towards action? And I will say that activism is an active state. It's a heightened state of arousal. And it's not necessarily bad, it's needed. It's very needed. We need excitement in our lives. We need joy in our lives. We need that heightened state. The balance gets tipped when it tips towards anxiety, panic, right? All of those places that we can go. And so yoga gives us tools to regulate or down-regulate when it's needed, but also it gives us tools to be in that heightened state, to create that heightened state as more of a place of normalcy, more of a place that we're used to being. So we become more able to be in those difficult conversations, be in those difficult situations, and regulate ourselves within that situation. And I believe that that's what's needed right now, because we're all being called to take action. You know, no matter where you are in the world, I believe that there's something going on for you that's calling you to take action. Here in America, and I'm in Denver, Colorado, where there have been protests, and we have been shown on the news, not some of the extreme, rioting that's happening, but there are protests happening. And so I personally feel very called for action, right now. It's important. And so how can I train myself, train my nervous system, gather all the tools to regulate myself as I take a stand forward into action, right? How can I attune myself so that I can be in that active state a little bit longer, a little bit more, stay engaged, and not go towards a state of collapse. Collapse is the opposite, and collapse is not what's called for in this situation. Collapse can come from avoidance. Collapse can come from an inculturation, especially, and I'll just get really political here, but especially of white women, to be nice, to be kind, to be sweet, to be silent, to not rock the boat. And so we are being called in a big way to step forward. No matter where you land in this conversation, no matter what color your skin is, no matter where you are affected. And so how can we find that space where we can take action and find the homeostasis that's so needed in the nervous system, so that we don't, because that active state, that state of activation, when it gets way too far, does lead to collapse. And that's what we don't need right now. So hopefully we'll get to explore that here. I am going to take you a little bit outside of the realm of traditional yoga asana. This will be a little bit more, at least the beginning part, a little bit more the work that I do with yoga therapy. So I'll ask you to notice your breath, your body, your heart rate, and I will ask you to do some movements that are not traditional asana. So hopefully you have any props that you need. You might have a couple blocks available or books. Harry Potter books are great. If you don't have that, hopefully you have like a chair or a stool where you can put your hands on them when you need. But take care of yourself. This is an all levels class, but that doesn't take away from the challenge that might be there for you. So find a place where you can stand. And I'd like you to stand firm and tall, and first and foremost, feet on the ground. Right? Wherever you are in this conversation, in this engagement to call to action, you must start with feet on the ground. And so I want you to really notice, and notice how you stand. This is not the traditional toes together, heels an inch apart kind of alignment practice, which doesn't work for all bodies anyway. So take your stance, right? Then soften your gaze or close your eyes. Turn your gaze internally. Even here, notice if your eyes do not want to close, if there's a resistance or a forcing, and allow that to be. So you do not have to close your eyes. Maybe take a gaze down towards the floor a few feet in front of you. And then take a few breaths, and those deep breaths, you've got this rib cage that stacks right over the pelvis, so it's not jut forward, it's not hidden back, it's right there in the center. And as you breathe, Notice if you tend to breathe up into the collarbones and shoulders, and can you drop it down so that as you breathe, the rib cage expands sideways and especially to the back of your body. And you can test that by bringing your hands around your rib cage, and as you inhale, can you feel expansion of the ribs towards the sides and the back? And continue to breathe in that way. Bring your arms down towards your sides. And bring your awareness down to your feet that are firmly planted on the floor, firmly planted on the ground that you walk on. Spread your toes wide, and then place them down if you can. Pinky toe, fourth toe, middle toe, first toe, big toe. And then from there, lift up all the way from the inner arches of your feet to the inner thighs, pubic bone towards your navel, front of the ribs softens towards the back, and yet heart lifted, throat open. Notice your third eye. Notice the crown of your head. Be in this body, in this moment. Notice your breath. Notice the beat of your heart. Notice any other sensations that arise for you. Notice if there's any movement. Often as I stand, I start to notice that there's just almost a natural tendency to rock side to side. So be with that, notice that. And as you rock, allow yourself to exaggerate that movement, rocking side to side, even bringing a twist into it. As you do this, are there any parts of your body that are restricted? When I work with clients, I often see that there's a rigidity to it. And we're looking for this quality of movement that almost gives you insight to how you're doing in the world. So is there a fluidity to it? Are you allowing your knees to bend? Are you allowing your arms to move? Keep doing that. Is there any way to exaggerate it? Maybe get faster. Maybe let your arms sway. Maybe you've found that you're wanting to move in different motions, different actions. So just see what's there. Again, we are working to find the tools to notice our own state and to regulate our own state so that we can be in the conversation as much as we need to be in the conversation. This is not a time to shy away or back off. All right, so keep moving. And then eventually you're going to come right up to center, lift your arms up towards the ceiling, take a big breath in. And with your exhale, fall towards the floor with a ha. Let your arms swing. Inhale, lift up. Exhale with a ha. Inhale. Exhale. And keep moving with that. Again, you might find an exaggeration. If you are having thoughts in your mind that this is weird, it is. Enjoy it. How often do we ask ourselves to step into something that might feel weird, that might look weird, that might be weird, and allow ourselves to be with it and truly explore what that feels like in breath and body. And even wonder why I didn't do this before. So allow yourself to continue with that, with the big exhale breath. Right? Yeah. Until you feel like you're ready to come back to stillness. And in that stillness, bring a hand over your heart, perhaps a hand over your belly, making that connection to yourself. There is urgency in this moment. Urgency to take action. What does it feel like to take action? To take action in something that feels weird, uncomfortable, awkward, uncertain. Now slow down. Notice breath and body. And so now, as you're ready, sweep your arms wide and all the way up to the ceiling. Interlace your fingers above you, send one finger straight up overhead. And if your shoulders are tighter, you may find that reaching forward will allow you to find more length through the shoulder. And as you do, start to bring your arms up overhead. Now, firmly root down through your legs. Draw your outer hips towards your inner thighs and continue to lengthen up. From your pubic bone to navel is strong, front of ribs towards the back. Now lean over towards the right side. And stay there, keep hugging your outer hips towards the center line. Pubic bone to navel, front of ribs to back. Can you lean any further? This is an edge. It's an edge in the physical body. It's an edge of exploration. Could be a metaphorical edge. We are all meeting edges right now. How do you engage at the edge? And how long do you stay? Now come back up to center. Realign, root down through your feet, outer hips towards the center. Pubic bone to navel strong, front of ribs to back, get tall. And exhale, lean over towards the left side. It's another edge. How do you engage when you find this edge leaning? Do you let yourself lean forward, lean into it? Do you back away? And what strength do you find to hold yourself at the edge? Go ahead, then come back up to center. This time you'll take your hands behind you. Interlace your hands. Some may need to keep the elbows bent and the hands just right at the low back. Some of you may be able to lift and retract your shoulders. Keep your chin down toward your chest so your neck can be soft. And then maybe you can straighten your arms. Again, hug your outer hips in, pubic bone to navel strong, even a sense of front of ribs towards the back as you lift up through the heart space. There may be a place where you're ready to move your ears back and lengthen through the throat. Notice breath and body. Can you go further? Is it time to back away? If you feel this in your low back, see if you can lift up through your chest a little more. How long can you hold this place? Take one more breath in. And then with your exhale, softly bend your knees. Draw your torso down towards your thighs. Take your hands, your one fist up and over. Drop the crown of your head towards the floor and shake your head yes and no. If at any time you need to release your hands, take them down to your low back and down to the floor. Otherwise, stay with this. We slow down. Take note, take account of breath, body, sensations. That enables us to take more clear, appropriate, and efficient action. All right, take your hands down towards your low back. If they're not already, release them down towards the floor. Right here, bend your knees deeply. Bring your elbows to your thighs. Shift your weight back towards your heels. You should start to feel the big muscles really working. We've got hamstrings, glutes, quads. Draw pubic bone to navel, front of ribs up towards the back. You're not arching through the spine, but almost. Reach your arms straight forward. Now keep your arms parallel to the floor. I want you to lengthen through the crown of your head and start to lift up. From your glutes, up your spine, all the way to the back of your head, working strong. Last action, lift your arms just high enough. Now clasp your hands, interlace, one finger goes forward. Keep lengthening through your arms, press down through your feet. Stand tall, 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 taller. Hug your outer hips in, pubic bone to navel strong, front of ribs to back. Take it towards a back bend. Good, now exhale, hands to heart center. Soften gaze or close your eyes. Allow yourself to be in this moment, noticing the effects of doing something hard, something challenging. Breath, body, sensation. Good, now release hands by your sides. Inhale, arms all the way up overhead. This time we'll dive down, hands through heart center, bend your knees as you need to, all the way down to the mat. Plant your hands firmly on the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to do that. Now it's core strength, pubic bone to navel, front of ribs to back, chin to chest. Draw your forehead closer to your shins. Stay there. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of your head. Plant your hands on your shins, straighten your arms and lengthen your torso. Press shins forward into hands. Draw front of ribs towards the back body. Lengthen. Good, then plant your hands, step back, plank pose. All of the work that we've done so far, here's more effort. Hold the plank. Press your hands wide. Hug your outer hips in. Pubic bone to navel strong, front of ribs up towards the back. Your head is in line with your shoulders. Drop to your knees at any time that you need the support. Good, take another big breath in. This time, drop your knees to the mat. Shift your hips back over your knees and walk your hands forward. So we're going towards a puppy pose. Anahatasana is the other name for it. As you do, maintain strength. Pubic bone to navel, front of ribs towards the back. Look forward and start to lower. Keep strength in your arms like you're trying to resist as you go down. Maybe your forehead touches the floor. If it does, continue to lengthen through the armpits. Maybe you come to a place where you're ready to bring your chin towards the floor and perhaps your chest as well. Good, now walk back up. Take your hands a little bit further back, tuck your toes under. Press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So once again, this is a practice of noticing breath, body, heart. Noticing sensations as you put your body, yourself, your being, into situations that can present a challenge. And the challenge to you is to remain engaged. Good, your next inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, bend your knees, draw front of ribs to back, gaze forward. Then step or float your feet to your hands. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms, lengthen torso. Press shins forward into hands, hands back into shins. Draw the front of your ribs towards the back. From here, hands to hips, squeeze elbows behind you, lengthen all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands by your sides. Inhale, reach arms high. Exhale, forward fold, come all the way down, plant hands, forehead to shins. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms, lengthen. Exhale, plant hands, step back, plank pose. This time we'll shift weight forward, lower to your belly. As you lower, your thumbs should line up with your rib cage. So that's that shift the weight forward. Once you get there, interlace your hands behind your head. Lift your shoulders, pull your elbows back. Draw your inner thighs towards each other, and then lift your legs. You should feel hamstrings and glutes. Keep pulling your elbows back, lengthen the crown of your head forward, and lift. This is Makrasana, or crocodile pose. Stay here. Now, bring your hands or your thumbs by your ribs. Keep pulling your shoulders back. Keep lengthening through the crown of your head. Can you lift your torso a little more? Plant your hands, press into your hands until feet reach the floor. So now we've changed the angle. This is a cobra. Make your legs strong, ribs forward, shoulders back, chin level, ears back. Maybe you've got a little bit more. Engage with this edge. Good, lower all the way down. Flip your toes. Press straight up to plank. You might need to leave knees down or take them with you and come back into a downward facing dog. All right, we'll do that a few more times, this time moving more breath to movement. As you're ready, inhale. Look forward, exhale, bend your knees. Step, float, or walk, feet to hands. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms, lengthen. Hands to hips, squeeze elbows, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands by your sides. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant hands, forehead to shins. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms, lengthen. Exhale, step back, plank pose. Shift forward, lower to belly. Lift legs, lift and retract shoulders. Press into hands until your feet reach the floor. Lower all the way down. Flip toes, press to plank. Exhale, down dog. Take one breath in, one breath out. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, bend knees, feet to hands. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms and lengthen. Hands to hips, squeeze elbows, come up to stand. Exhale, hands by your sides. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten and lengthen. Exhale, step back, plank. Shift forward, lower. Legs, shoulders, press into hands, cobra. Lower all the way down. Flip toes, press to plank. Exhale, down dog. One breath in, one breath out. Inhale, forward. Exhale, bend knees, feet to hands. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms, lengthen. Hands to hips, squeeze elbows. Come all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands by your sides. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, straighten arms, lengthen. Exhale, step back, plank pose. Shift, lower. Lift legs, lift arms, press into hands until feet reach. Lower all the way down. Flip toes, press to plank. Exhale, down dog. Rest here. If you find you need a child's pose, take a child's pose. Wherever you are, notice your breath, your body. If you're holding the down dog and noticing that it does take effort, notice that. It takes effort to stay engaged. It takes effort to stay in the conversation. And it's flexing that muscle of being able to stay engaged. And the work of yoga is developing the awareness of what happens when you are engaged in something hard. The work of yoga is not all about love and light and bypassing the hard stuff. The work of yoga is being in the hard stuff and noticing how you are. Now step the right foot forward, back heel to the mat, come up warrior one. If you like, you can interlace hands, send one finger straight up, even look up. But find your steadfastness, find your firm base that supports you. This back leg, rotate the thigh away from you, dive deeper into the front knee, then pull the right hip back while you move the left rib forward. There's a little bit of a twist in the torso. Hips are not square, but the torso faces forward. Reach your arms high. Notice your breath and your body here. engaging in something hard. It takes effort, stamina, steadfastness, slowing down. Exhale, hands behind you. Interlace. Your hands might stay back here with your elbows bent. If you've got it, lift your shoulders, retract shoulders, then start to trace the knuckles down your back. Stay low in your front knee, lift the chest up. Make your back legs strong. Now come forward. Your right shoulder to the inside of your right knee. Good, now release hands by way of your low back, all the way to the mat. Spin your back heel up, step back, plank pose. Shift weight forward and lower. Lift legs, lift and retract shoulders, press into hands until feet reach the floor. There's your cobra. Good, lower all the way down. Flip toes, press up to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now step the left foot forward, spin the back heel down, come up, warrior one. Again, you might choose to interlace the hands and lift. This back thigh rotates away from you while you dive deep into the front knee. Pull your left hip back, move your right ribs forward. Really engage. Everything zips to midline. Inner thigh pulls in. Pubic bone to navel is strong. Even that front of the ribs towards the back kind of sensation, so that it doesn't shift back, but rather lengthens up. Lift your arms, stay here. Yoga only asks us to be aware. These asana shapes, they're great. They're wonderful, they're powerful. They are more of a modern construct. But it's a modern construct to develop an increased awareness of yourself. What's happening in each moment? Exhale, hands behind you. Hands at low back, lift shoulders, retract. Stay low in the front knee. Back leg is strong, back glute is strong. Lift your chest up. Then come forward, humble warrior. Left shoulder to the inside of right knee. Even here, back leg is strong. Pubic bone to navel, front of ribs to back, chin to chest, crown of your head falls towards the floor. What does it feel like to bow in humility? I believe that many of us are called to and asked to do that right now, to recognize that some of my words and actions have been wrong. And instead of shying away, collapsing, closing down, or even talking about my own pain, how that hurts me, how I am tired, fatigued, crying. Rather, I'm going to stand strong and say, I know better. I can do better. Release your hands. Step back, plank. Shift forward, lower to your belly. Lift your legs, lift, retract shoulders, press into hands until feet reach the floor. Play with this cobra a little while. Rotate your elbows forward, almost like you're opening jar lids with your hands. See if that allows for a little more opening in the chest. Pull your shoulders back. Chin is level, ears back. Legs are strong. Lower all the way down. Flip toes, press to plank. Exhale, down dog. Breathe and be. Check in. How is my breath now? How is my body now? How is my heart now? Step the right foot forward, back heel to the mat, walk hands to the left. This is down dog lunge. The legs are like your warrior two. The torso is aiming diagonally, around 10 o'clock if your foot faces 12 o'clock. And your torso is trying to lengthen like a down dog. Find steadfastness in your legs. Walk your hands towards your front foot. This is where you might want a block or a book, so you can bring that prop right by your front foot. Make your legs steady. This back thigh rotates away from it. You might notice that grounds down the pinky side edge. This front thigh rotates forward. And you can grab it and give it that sensation of rotating forward. Then reach your left arm straight forward. Make it cover your eyeball. Yeah. Now, pubic bone to navel, front of ribs to back. Begin to rotate open. This is going to be different, look different for every body. Just as the lived experience is different for every body. I can never know what it feels like to be in your body. Keep elongating through the left side. Good, now release. Adjust your feet just a little bit so you can get your left hand down. Might be on the block, might be on the floor. Right hand on your thigh. Pull your right hip back, stay bent in the knee, and begin to twist. Press down through this left hand, rotate your elbow forward so the shoulder opens, and then reach. Right arm high. Maintain the strength in your legs. Left leg rotates away from you, outer pinky edge towards the floor. Front knee bends. Good, then release that. Coming into Prasarita. Turn both toes forward. Lower down towards the floor and let yourself pause here. Bend your knees enough that you can lift sitting bones higher. Lengthening out through the low back. Good, then walk towards the back of your mat. There's your low lunge. Spin the back heel down. Walk hands to the right side. Down dog lunge once again. So this back thigh rotates away from you. Maybe you can see it in the video, that articulation. Hips lift. Hands are reaching towards 2 o'clock if your front foot faces 12. Everything is urgent. First, slow down. Walk your hands towards the front of the mat. Here's where you might want your block again. Block under the left hand, right by your left foot. Rotate this right foot away from you. Now you're going to reach the right arm straight forward. Plant it on your eyeball. Pubic bone to navel strong, front of the ribs towards the back. That core strength combined with the steadfastness of your legs will allow you to begin to open. Again, every body has its own lived experience. Beautiful, release that. Adjust your feet just enough so you're still in a warrior one kind of stance here. Right hand can step wide, can be on the block. Hand to your thigh, rotate the front thigh away from you. Pull your left hip back, begin to twist. Push down through the right hand, rotate open. Then lift your left arm. Can you stay engaged? Engaged in such a way that there is action, there is movement forward, there is progress. Return. This time we're coming up into a star pose. So lift your arms high, turn toes forward, reach your arms. Connect with your center, right here, your center. Pubic bone to navel, front of ribs to back. If your ribs are jutting forward, you're giving your energy away. If your ribs are jutting backward, you're hiding. Where's the middle? How can I stay here now? Press down through the floor. Lift up through your arms. Here now. What do you notice? Good. From here, turn your heels in, toes out. Take your hands into heart center. Horse stance. So it's a wide stance, a wide base. Do you feel the strength in your legs, even the strength in your glutes to hold you here? Move your heels forward and your knees wide without actually moving the feet on the floor. It's just an engagement. And then bring your hands down to your thighs. Lean forward, let your shoulders come up towards your ears, and just play with a little bit of a twist. Drop the right shoulder down. Come up through center, drop the left shoulder down. Come up. And do that a few times. When you're done, come up to standing. Bring your feet back towards each other. And then shake it out. Just as we did at the start of class, start shaking your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your hips. Let it all wiggle. After all of the action and engagement, shake it out. We hold, we take in, and we hold all this energy. You've probably heard the phrase, the issues are in the tissues. And yeah, there's that. But it's also, it's not that simple. There's a lot to it. But allow yourself to shake it out, especially after a challenging conversation, a challenging posture. What do you need to release? To move through your body. And then come down, make your way onto your back. So as you come onto your back, plant your feet flat on the floor. Your knees are lifted up towards the ceiling. Let yourself be here for a moment. Just notice your low back or your sacrum on the mat. Probably a little space or at least less pressure beneath your low back than your thoracic spine, the place where the lungs and the heart are held. Pushes down. Your shoulders press down. And then wiggle your heels so that you can maybe tickle your heels with your fingertips. That's not accessible for every body, but it's a general direction. Your feet are hip bone width apart or sitting bone width apart. Press down into your big toe. Just notice the engagement that happens. And then start to lift your hips, going into a bridge pose. You might pause here. This might be enough. Keep hugging the inner thighs towards each other, even outer hips hug in. You should feel strong from pubic bone to navel. If you want more, press into your heels. You should feel hamstrings and glutes engage. If you're ready for more, shimmy shoulders underneath of you and continue to bring your chest towards your chin. Notice effort that keeps you engaged in the conversation of this posture. Notice your breath. Notice your heart. When you feel it's time, release your hips towards the floor. Widen your heels, bring your knees together, and then wrap your arms across your chest. When it's time, Shavasana. Shavasana is that place of rest and integration. It's the place that is most needed when we are actively engaging in the conversations of the world. The most immediate conversation, especially if you live in America, is the one that's called Black Lives Matters. And whether this is a new conversation or an age-old conversation, it requires your engagement. And that also requires slowing down, taking stock, noticing, so that you are able again to move out into the world, to be active and engaged when you are called to be. I thank you all so much for joining me, and I will leave you here in Shavasana. You can find me on Facebook, The Embodied Yoga Method. And I invite you to take that step closer towards your conscious community. Namaste.